All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case over on Rumble. Of course, I do see the chat is moving and people are piling in, so I'm assuming that it shall be. We're going to be talking about multiple subjects, which I should probably actually have the tabs for up above. Donald Trump on abortion, of course. He weighed in on the Arizona decision, said it went too far. That'll piss some people off. It will endear other people. I happen to agree with Donald Trump. I think that keeping abortion banned as the result of a 150-year-old law is a little bit asinine, and the Republicans, trying to throw the election probably plays a role in that. We've got Biden's anti-gunnery, his new decree, his authoritarian unilateral decree with regards to background checks, of course, on guns. We've got nitroplasts. Yes, there is a new engulfed organelle that was not in the biology books when I was a kid. And then, of course, we have the real-life Gilligan's Island situation. Pacific Castaways help sign sparks U.S. rescue mission and an unexpected family reunion. So we'll be talking about all of that and also doing some bans and stuff like that. I am back in the Netherlands, by the way. I'm under the stairs because I'm the real-life Harry Potter. You can tell from my glasses being not held together with tape, but there's a piece of craft wire actually holding this side on. So, kindred spirits. But unlike Daniel Radcliffe, I actually agree with J.K. Rowling on women's rights. The bonus holes, that motherfucker isn't real, just to be clear. I get the reference. Yeah, there was a meme about me, like when I was on the plane earlier, that I was going to spurg out like that one woman did. And apparently she just had a psychotic episode and was really sorry about it afterwards. So I don't know. I don't really agree with trolling her because it's like, I know what it's like to have a mental breakdown. Trust me, I've had a number of them. By the way, right now, I do not have my larger screen set up. The HDMI cable went missing, so I'm actually using the normal laptop screen. So if I lean in a little bit like this in order to actually read what you're saying, it's because, like, by my standards, it's really small type. And I have bad eyesight, but I'm not for reading purposes. I don't need reading glasses at my age. By the way, it's almost 70 degrees. I've got the door in the back propped open, just fucking sweltering in here. Mulgara85, Spike Cohen and David Hogg did a debate on Wednesday. I didn't know Jewish people could roast hogs. Also, Lily Tang Williams stole the show during the Q&A portion. Great debate, would recommend. I'll have to take a look at that. And the follow-up, also O.J. Simpson died. Will they carry his body in a hearse or a Ford Bronco? If I was him, I would have mandated that my coffin was dragged behind a Ford Bronco, actually, just for shits and giggles, just to get more attention around my death. He was good at attention seeking. And yes, we will get to merch links as well. I can see those because I can actually resize on the notepad file a little bit more than I can here with the live chats. I'm doing the best that I bloody can. But we'll get to plenty of news. I realize that it's early for many people, not the normal time slot. Some of you really like it. Some of you fucking hate it. Now, I will be back in the United States in some time. But right now, I am in the Netherlands. I'm back in Europe, which means that I get to make my famous Florentine soup, because I can actually get all the fresh ingredients. Also, I checked. I did a little bit of a spot check, and I was correct. Grocery prices are lower here in the Netherlands than in the United States. And that includes at places that in the U.S. are generally cheap. And that's small town America, so it's not exactly, it's not, buying in Manhattan or something like that. Plenty of clankers out there. I don't know where I put my energy drink, though. I'll have to find it later. Trust me, one of the greatest things about the Netherlands, you can find those 9 energy drinks, the sugar-free ones. They're infinitely better than any other sugar-free energy drink that I've ever had. Trip Boom, yes, back to the early morning stream. Clank, clank. Yes, battle tricks. Again, my apologies. I don't have the larger screen set up, so everything's smaller. New office space or temporary space? Temporary. While I'm in the Netherlands, I'm not going to bother buying a new cable just to have that set up for a short period of time. Yeah, so if I lean in, it's not because of my vision has suddenly gotten terrible or something like that. It's because I have no choice. I did my best to set it up. I was able to zoom in on certain things. Certain other things, not so much. Trump, abortion ban in Arizona goes too far. Former president also defends justice's ruling that overturned Roe. This is what we want to see. Donald Trump is being lambasted by the left-wing media over this. Well, he doesn't get to say that the abortion ban goes too far because he enabled it. Well, not really. All he did was appoint SCOTUS justices. They made their own unilateral decision. Same as within the Arizona case. Trump happens to disagree with the latter and agree with the former. And he's doing what's right. For every far-right voter that, says, well, fuck Trump because, he's not in favor of completely banning abortion, even if a woman's going to die on the slab, there will be a couple of independent voters that flock to him by taking that issue off the table. And that's why the liberal media right now is gunning for him so hard. You may have seen, if you go over to RCP, you'll see a number of stink pieces about Trump and abortion right now. Why? Because they're worried. They're worried because they know that this strategy will actually work, because it's literally the mean, median, and mode of U.S. opinion on the issue of abortion. There are a handful of people on the far left that think it should be totally unrestricted. So you should be able to abort, at 8 months in. Most people don't agree with that. They think that's morbid and grotesque. Most people also don't want to ban abortion. They want a reasonable cap on it. It's roughly in line with what you see in most of the civilized world. And it deviates between 10 to 16 weeks or thereabouts, with exceptions for if the woman's life is in danger. And that's basically where Trump falls on the issue. I like how people pretend that it's a mystery. The liberals are pretending, well, he hasn't really taken a stance on abortion. He just flip-flops all over the place. No. He told you about his feelings about abortion effectively since the 1990s. He is not a moralistic, evangelocon or something like that, nor is he far left on the issue. He takes up what effectively is a centrist attitude, and they can't stand it. They want him to take up a far-right attitude and just sit there talking about how great Roe v. Wade ending was. They do not want him to do this and criticize the state of Arizona for reviving a law from the mid-1800s. They don't want to do that because if he does call them out on the issue, and he has, then he looks moderate by comparison to the far left. The other Republicans mainly didn't get the memo. Some of them are wise enough to remain silent, others not so wise, and so they think that it should become a federal issue, even though many of them campaigned on it being a states' rights issue former to Roe v. Wade dying. Jeffrey Duran, hi Sticks and friends, on vacation in Thailand. I have to get down there. Ray Vahi's down there in Thailand, I think, right now. Tigers are my totem, sent $5. No comment. Thank you very much. So yeah, we got Trump on abortion. Some people say, well, he's flip-flopping and he's being disingenuous. No. He's never come out in favor of a national abortion ban. They're acting as though he's an evangelical or something like that. Then they also try to poison pill the evangelicals and say, well, Trump is weak on this issue. You see some of the TDS sufferers literally doing that right now. I'm wondering if I can zoom in here and make chat bigger. Just a second while I try this. If that's possible to do, that would be great. Oh, it did work. Okay, now I can see it a lot better. And see the StreamYard side, but the Rumble side was a little bit on the small end. And it does appear that there was a Rumble rant there that disappeared. So my apologies if I missed somebody's Rumble rant. It looked like it... That's really weird. Or maybe they rescinded it, I don't know. The Dashing Rogue Sticks, read The Foundation of Geopolitics by Dugan before you start talking about why we shouldn't be, why we should have been, by how Dugan you start talking about why we should have. Oh, you doubled that up. You must have copy pasted. Abandoned Ukraine, i.e. Finlandization. I don't think that we need to abandon Ukraine. I think that we need to actually have a diplomatic solution, because a military one ain't going to happen. Just saying, pragmatically speaking, I feel sorry for the people of Ukraine for being invaded. I'm not Team Russia, and I'm definitely not Team Putin. He is an authoritarian and believes in censoring memes about himself, so I can't side with somebody like that. Realistically speaking, though, is there any possibility that the Ukrainian military is going to force Russia out of the country? No, I don't believe so. In fact, if it came to that, Russian leadership, because of cultural norms there, may deploy battlefield nukes. And then they'll look at the world and they'll say, well, we didn't nuke any other nuclear power. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to nuke us? Well, then it's World War III. The West would back down, and Russia knows it. And that's why there will be no clear-cut victory for the Ukrainians. They can still have a diplomatic victory in the sense they can reclaim some of that land through extra military measures, enter NATO, and get a guarantor of their sovereignty, along with the repatriation of people loyal to the Ukrainians that are currently in Russian-controlled territory. They're capable of that. They can get all of that in negotiations, but you have to actually have the negotiations. Wasted Bonehead, good morning from the grave. Will you be doing any garden videos in the Netherlands? Maybe, but I'd have to trim it up a little bit. It doesn't look bad. It's just that it doesn't look necessarily up to my standards at the moment. Send your faces. If we're going to start necromancing old laws, what's going to stop the left on necromancing gun laws or eugenics? I agreed. That's another problem. Maybe slavery will be back on the menu. Well, you couldn't have that. But yeah, I mean, keep in mind, all gun control in the United States is roughly contemporary to the mid-1800s. It starts with the Cruikshank decision. That's only 10 years after the decision that they're reviving in Arizona. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Not interested in reviving old laws. In fact, I think we should strike as many laws off the books as possible in general. We need a more liberty-loving, more streamlined, less bureaucratic system. So I can't say I stand with Trump on that one. He is fundamentally correct. And also it's more pragmatic. You think that you're going to win elections by siding with an effective complete ban on abortion in a swing state? I don't think so. If anything, this gives Trump a huge disadvantage in Arizona, and he's trying to warn the Republicans there, hey, fix this fucking problem. You better fix it right quick, boy, or else Don is going to be mad. I mean, you would be too. Ego Mayhem, good morning. Glad you had a safe trip over. What is this about the FISA bill being dead? Yeah, it was killed, actually. Some Republicans defected, and they killed the FISA continuation. I don't think that it's going to be permanently dead, but it's a step in the right direction. In fact, I think this, other than the filibuster with Rand Paul and Ted Cruz way back in the day, I think this is the only other time that that system has been challenged at all. And that was a tie-in with NSA spying at the time. Judge denied release of woman, formerly child, by the way, who stabbed childhood friend because of Slenderman. Morgan Gazer is one of the women responsible for the 2014 Slenderman stabbing in Waukesha. Who knows? A judge has denied the petition for conditional release of one of the two young women who were convicted in the 2014 Slenderman stabbing of a classmate in Wisconsin. She's currently 21. Which means she was definitely a minor in 2014. She was a fucking 11 or 12 years old. I do not believe that she should have been tried in the way that she was. She definitely should have been admitted into psychiatric treatment because she was clearly nutso. But if you listen to the testimony that was given by all of the medical professionals that are attending to this, well, now young woman, formerly little child, she's no longer needing antipsychotics. She's responding to treatment. She's expressing remorse. And they all recommend, literally everyone that works with her is saying, no, she's perfectly fine now. She needs to be integrated back into society. She was sentenced. She was found not guilty due to mental issues during this trial. Of course, she and another girl stabbed to death another girl, basically to, I guess, summon Slenderman. Clearly mental illness was involved in this. And everyone in the facility that she was put in agrees that she has been successfully treated, is capable of reintegrating into society. She has schizophrenia, which normally does not manifest that young, but in this case, for some reason does. And PTSD, allegedly. She said she was molested. That's up for question as to whether that's true or whether it was a false claim, but she has been diagnosed as mentally ill. Now, murdering someone, of course, is wrong. But when do we get to the point where we say, okay, we're trying 11 or 12-year-olds as adults and then effectively robbing them of their entire life, even though the people around them, that the system itself put them in charge of them, are saying, hey, this person now that they've been treated and understand that that's not acceptable behavior, and if effectively they're doing fine, at what point do we decide to condemn them effectively to life in prison and an asylum, taking up a slot that could be filled by someone else at taxpayer expense, because they did something when they were a kid? I don't agree with this any more than I agreed with the initial decision. Of course, mental health treatment should definitely be prescribed in the case where someone is so flipped out that they're murdering somebody for a cartoon character, effectively, for a creepypasta character. That's obvious. But to condemn them to up to 40 years in an insane asylum, by the way, why would you sentence them? It says, I'll just read through this. It doesn't make sense the way the system works. Geyser, 21, was found not guilty by reason of mental disease and was initially sentenced in 2018 to a maximum of 40 years of state mental health supervision. She's been at the facility for nearly a decade, but despite Thursday's ruling, her defense attorney, Anthony Cotton, said Geyser will try it again in 6 months. If you go through the main caretakers and the person running the facility, all agree that she should be released on supervised conditions. To say, look, she's not been violent, she's done nothing wrong, she's responding to treatment, she's mentally ill. It was an unfortunate event, but she comprehends the fact that she shouldn't be killing people for Slenderman. I do not believe in condemning somebody of that age, 11, 12 years old, to potentially effectively near life in what is effectively a prison. By the way, if you look at high security asylums, they're worse than the average maximum facility prison. And there are people who will attest to this, who have looked at both. Actually, they're worse. There's no reason to continue the incarceration, which is exactly what it is. I mean, if you can't leave, it doesn't really matter if it's a medical facility or an out-and-out prison, you're incarcerated. There was a testimony about how Geyser telling doctors she faked her mental illness, claiming she was sexually abused as a child. That's on top of the diagnosis of schizophrenia and post-traumatic stress disorder. The family of the victim, of course, resisting the concept of her ever being out in public again. What I would say, though, is, she's responding to treatment. She understands that what she did is not acceptable. She doesn't even need to take medication anymore. So what the fuck is the problem? By the way, schizophrenia alone would not account for the situation. Schizophrenia is inversely correlated with violent behavior, actually, especially in the manic stage. You may think of people that see dogs jumping through their walls on a regular basis as potentially ready to pop off. The opposite is actually true. Schizophrenics tend to avoid confrontation. Most people don't know this, by the way. We have a bunch of armchair mental illness experts who have never studied the concept. And they're the ones that want to keep her effectively in a hospital prison for the rest of her life, basically. I think that that's wrong. She was 11, 12 years old at the time. Ryan888K. Hey, mate, I'm Australian. I've been watching you since 2015, and this is the first time I've caught you live. I figured it's time to send you some cash for all your good work. I do appreciate it, by the way. Yeah, I'm in the Netherlands for a while here, and so I'll be on this time zone for my live stream. So Eastern time, it's 7, 8 o'clock or thereabouts. I hope I'm not stepping on anyone's toes. Jocko Slapbass. Who has worse optics, Israel or Hades barbecue? At this point, Israel, actually. They've lost the optics war long ago. The bonus holes. Right backs off on drugs and left allows abortion ban. Yeah. That'd be interesting. Termagamer148. If Trump said he'd be okay with hippos going extinct, would his career tank? I want to know what the least he could say and do for people to turn on him. I've criticized him before, and there would be certain no-go zones if he became like an anti-gunner. If he started spouting off something akin to Bidenomics, then I would question his sanity, and I'd say, well, I don't want an insane person to be president. So far, while in this campaign, he has said things that I disagree with. A lot of the things I really like his very first Agenda 47 video was on reforming Section 230 and passing an Internet Bill of Rights. While he's not going to accomplish the 8 or 9 step program that he has in mind in that video, if he could just accomplish those two things, it would go light years ahead in terms of allowing content creation to really flourish in the United States. And so as a content creator, that's meaningful for me. Also, I know what kind of tax reform he'd have in mind. He saved me thousands and thousands of dollars with the self-employment write-off. That was a write-off of a significant proportion of your federal tax up to $100K if you were getting hit with that self-employment penalty. I get hit with the self-employment penalty, I'm sad to say. I paid taxes commensurate with someone, on a normal tax bracket who'd be making like $250K a year, unfortunately. Mungie, I don't see how these people think grandstanding on a ban, losing and saving no babies is better than siding with the majority and saving tens to hundreds of thousands of babies. Republicans love to lose. Yeah, exactly. Unless you intend a hostile overthrow and institute some sort of theocratic system, you're going to have to negotiate. That's the way that it works in a republic. Even being 100% pro-life, this makes more sense. Agreed. Jeffrey Duran, any opinion on the Apple River stabbing? Apple River stabbing, I am not familiar with, I think. Or maybe I am, but I don't know the term. Hungry Bone Dog, Waukesha, Wisconsin resident. Crow people, me, pickle peel me, pump a run. Thank you for the shout out. You know which one. Hoping your personal life is not as bad as the rumors. My personal life is perfectly fine. Corto Maltese, what do you think of Jason Miller and his book Consorting with Spirits? Haven't read it. Actually, I've heard the name, but I'm not sure I'm familiar with any literature by him. There's some pollen outside, by the way. I'm a little bit hoarse. Also, I had to be in transit for 24 hours, so. A guy under a bridge. Richard Dawkins proclaims himself a cultural Christian, and it is sad to see churches and Christmas hymns going away. Brother in Christ, you asked for it. Yeah, I guess I would side with him on that, in the sense that, Christmas services are fun, lighting candles and organs and all that cool stuff. But that, again, he's professing what I talked about years ago. He's not religious, but he has an appreciation for the cultural trappings of it. Or he's not a theist. But I guess in the cultural sense, he would be religious, I suppose. I myself am not. Though I would go into a church without bursting into flames, so it's all good. Sounder Siren 07. Any opinions on the interstate compact to give electoral votes to the popular vote winner? Seems like it will neuter the EC to keep permanent Dem rule. Not when you look at the states that are imposing it. They all lean blue anyway. And if they ever lean red, then they might leave the compact. Clumsy Vash, have you ever wore lederhosen? No, I have not. Nor will I ever. Wasted Bonehead, Slenderman, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Yeah, I can remember the Slenderman memes and shit back in the day. Let's get to our merch partners before we continue, shall we? We have pumpkinfirecrafts.us, where you can get bookmarks, keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons, amulets, and much more with the Sticks, Hex, and Hammer logo, Clank, and all of your favorite localized memes. We've got other things available as well. We've got BiltongUSA.com. Make sure to use code STICKS, by the way, on all of these sites whenever applicable. Biltong is good. It is fine meat. You've got everything from Wagyu to Angus to Carbonaci. We've also got some Sticks, Hex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts available as well. WickedNeedleEmbroidery.BigCartel.com, where you can get Sticks, Hex, and Hammer hats in several different designs. They were highly in demand the second that I came on a video wearing one. I'm like, messaging them, like, you wouldn't believe how many people have requested this to be available. I have no idea how many of them sold, but it must be a considerable number. We have HeritageHeirloomSeedCompany.com. By the way, they have an April contest. If you buy one of their survival seed buckets, most of the seeds I'm going to be planting this year are from one, by the way. You can be entered in to their to a chance to win all of your money back, so you can get literally a free seed bucket. They've also got other things available there. They send me a bunch of the non-high fructose corn syrup ketchup, which I definitely appreciate. By the way, I got a message from another clanker actually this morning or last night. It depends on the time zone. I'm bad at them. Saying that they remember old school ketchup and it tastes more like it. I will admit that that's good. They've also got soaps available. Sticks, Hex, and Hammer soap. I'm not sure if it's available right now or will be soon. The ones that I got still have to cure. I think it's a prototype, so it smells incredible. It's the best smelling soap. I think that's going to be their new bestseller. I can almost guarantee. Webster'sWares.com, where you can get various Trump merchandise, miscellanea, and some stick stuff, beanies available soon. We've got jamandbean.com, JAMNbean.com, where you can get delicious coffee, get the Costa Rica blend. Again, I will always simp for that one. Also, tea blends available as well. Those smell and taste really good also. And finally, MTPew, that's MTPEW.com, where you can get ammunition, both new and range brass reloaded. 9mm available, 5.56, I think they got 223, 45, and there's several others as well that are available there. All right, got to the merch partners. That's how we're talking about it. Pumpkin Fire Crafts, good morning, Clankers. New spoons with new designs available, as well as cutting boards. Yes, indeed. And pick holder keychains, 10% off using code STICKS. Glad you had a safe trip, Sticks. Yes, long but safe, thankfully. Delta has some pretty good food. As long as you upgrade to at least Comfort Plus, then, you also get complimentary drinks. So, it takes the boredom out of flying. Kilowatt, being in the Netherlands, did you try clogs yet? No, I have not, actually. Dat Pie over there. Razorfist was celebrating the Arizona decision and finally confirmed y'all are brothers from the same mother. He is more far-right on abortion than myself. I am pro-choice with, of course, a cutoff period, certain exceptions. I think that abortion should be safe and legal because it's not pragmatic to ban it, and because I don't think that the government can ever administer that kind of power properly. That being said, I'm not left on the issue because it seems some leftists think that a third trimester abortion is acceptable. Well, I know that the baby's been viable for the last 6 weeks, but just pull it out anyway because it's perfectly fine. No, I don't believe in that. I think that's a terrible idea. It's murder at that point. Senor Faces, she did it for Slenderman and Jeff instead of a Fumo. Wolf on the Plains. Sticks, can I shout out my Give Send Go at Wolf's F&L School Fund? I'm going back to school. Tuition and supplies are paid, but coming up short for food and lodging. Reaching out to the Clankers for help. Yes, I can shout it out, but I cannot legally give it my official endorsement. So Wolf on the Plains, Wolf's F&L School Fund. Fancy Action Now sent $1. No comment, thank you. R. Smith. Heritage Heirloom Seeds have the Sticks Hexenhammer box on their site right now for pre-order. Oh, yes, available for pre... Oh, yeah, but it's pre-order, yeah. 7 Tyson. It's a nice change to listen to you on my way home from another night shift. You raised my spirits. Thanks for helping this keeping this corrections officer sane. I do not envy you your particular job. At least you don't have to watch the Slenderman girl, She's awful handy with a meat cleaver, they say. I don't believe that she should still be in the asylum. If everyone working with her is like, hey, if not cured, at the very least, she's responding properly to treatment. She hasn't done anything wrong since 2014. Oh, come on. Give her a break. She's only 21 years old. She was fucking 12 at the time or something like that. She's a kid. She's just a mentally ill kid, and they effectively tried to put her in the hooskow for the rest of her life. It's insane. More insane than her. Biden administration to require thousands more gun dealers to run background checks. Oh, thank you. Rule is likely to be challenged in court. It effectively was immediately by gun rights activists who believe the president is unfairly targeting gun owners. Well, yeah, indeed he is. They're trying to close the so-called gun show loophole to make it impossible for anyone to obtain a gun without being on a government registry. But then again, they've also gone after so-called assault weapons, magazines of standard capacity, suppressors, and things like that. Surprised they haven't gone after the Gatling crank at this point. I can't wait to get one of those. I'd love to get, if I were in a state where you could actually have standard capacity magazines, I'd mount a couple of AR pistols or something and belt feed them or something like that. Have some suppressors on them, Gatling crank, and it'd be pretty fun. Those are legal to create. I've seen plenty of videos of them on YouTube. Apparently, the Biden admin and DOJ are also creating a registry of people who oppose gun control too much. I've been tipped. I'm not shitting you. I was tipped off about that the other day. But what they're trying to do is close the gun show loophole. And I don't think they should close the gun show loophole. I think that there should be a loophole for literally everyone, and gun control should go the way of the dinosaur, like the literal Jim Crow segregation era bullshit that it is. There was no meaningful gun control in the United States prior to the 1870s, and virtually none prior to the 20s and 30s. Yet people didn't run around shooting each other with machine guns or anything like that. You know, there was violence. There's violence now. Inner city street gangs are a thing. Back then, the inner city street gangs mainly used baseball bats and crowbars and shit like that on one another. A little bit harder to accidentally have a stray bullet kill a bystander. Rhodes Scholar, there was no Slenderman murder sticks. The victim survived. Yes, murder attempt, but the point is, I misspoke. The point is that this kid was only like 11 or 12 years old. This should never be consigned beyond the age of 18 for any reason. It's false imprisonment at some point. Everyone around her says she's responding just fine to treatment and everything's okay and hunky-dory. Well, then it's on them. If they turn her loose and she tries to kill somebody again, it's not on her because she's obviously a maniac. But they're saying that they don't think she's a maniac. The unintended. Styx is promoting soap. Is this the beginnings of Project Mayhem? Is Razor your imaginary alter ego? His name is Robert Paulson. Yeah, Razorfist is wrong about certain things, like, you know, how to cook a steak, whether pineapple is permissible on pizza. I don't know. He's uptight about certain food. He doesn't even think that beans go in chili. By the way, tonight I'm making my world-famous soup. It is a Florentine soup, veggie Florentine. Lots of spinach, really tomatoey, chicken broth. It's not vegetarian because it's got the chicken broth, but, you know, you don't need to put... Some people put, like, chunks of sausage and shit in the Florentine. I prefer to have it otherwise vegetarian. Steve D. Martin, speaking of 5.56, I bought my first AR-15 sticks, picked up an M&P 15 Sport 2. I love it. It's super accurate and it was quite affordable and has the bayonet mount on it. That'll be my next purchase. Nice. Congratulations. King of Biltong, good morning from Anton's Meat and Eat. Free shipping for your biltong using code STICKS on www.biltongusa.com and www.antonsusa.com. Get your official Clank meat shipped right to your door. Hashtag Clank Nation. Highly recommended and fully endorsed, by the way. Apache. Morning, Sticks and Chat. I hope our names are touching on the government anti-gun control list. I saw that meme the other day on 4chan. Grantham, tasting politics with Tarl Warwick coming soon. I'm going to make a threat to Anton. I'm going to put ketchup on the biltong and do a taste testing video. That's, yeah, I'm threatening you. Do you remember Threats? Threats from Compton, the prank called the soundboard prank? Anyone? I'm probably the only one that ever heard him. I've been making threats since kindergarten. Mulgera85, I believe the victim of the Slenderman stabber survived, actually. Yes, I misspoke. Let's see, just a sec. Oh, this is an exciting one. Today on Science News, scientists discover first nitrogen-fixing organelle. Yes, it is called a nitroplast. Organelles of this kind, the theory is that throughout time, eukaryotic life forms would occasionally engulf a prokaryotic life form that serves some sort of potentially specialized purpose. And that they would begin basically a symbiosis, and over time the unique genetic profile of the lesser symbiote, the engulfed one, alters, and it becomes fully ingrained into the eukaryotic life form, leading to the rise actually of complex life on the planet. It's rumored that mitochondria are among them. That was probably the first. Another one is chloroplasts, so the botanical species that we have that can use the sun for energy. Chloroplasts would be one. I can't remember the third one, and now there's apparently there's a fourth. They've studied it in depth and determined that nitroplasts that can fix nitrogen in certain species. At some point, that was the result of a eukaryote engulfing a prokaryote. That is literally, when you think about it, your body is a highly differentiated colony of different bacteria, more than anything else, with their own specialized purposes. And they contain other effectively kind of sort of remnant life forms in them, specifically mitochondria, the power plant of the cell, in order to create the ATP that you need for your cells to operate and create a complex life form. You need mitochondria. If you don't have them, you don't really have much. It's fascinating biology. We used to talk about that all the time. I used to know about like the Krebs cycle and the production of ATP and all of these other great things. I could probably reprime myself and go through that whole biology textbook in a week, because Mrs. Rayford trained me well. But my apologies to my, I think, unfortunately dead teacher, Mrs. Rayford. I have lost my touch on some of these biological issues. I know what the Golgi apparatus is, though, so there's that. Man, the genetic component of cells is fascinating. I'm just glad that I lived long enough for them to find another organelle that probably originally was its own little prokaryotic creature. Yes, nitrosomes. This is actually this is a March 2024 study that the concept is that originally it was its own life form. It can fix nitrogen in certain species where it's present. Organelles, by the way, are the little components of a cell. So again, Golgi apparatus, nucleolus, nucleus, ribosomes, etc. The components of the cell, some of which are effectively, they're not really their own life forms. I mean, a single mitochondrion can't survive on its own outside of the cell. The concept is that there was symbiosis at some point. Grantham, oh, I read that one. Lillian, sent you big story to X. Have to get it out from SCANER. I'll check it out right now then, if it's a big story. Just a sec. I'll take a look. I'll do my best. If I can get Twitter to load. Sometimes Twitter messages have been having some problems lately, I've noticed. Like sometimes they don't want to load. Sometimes the only way to get them to load is to try to create a new message and then exit out. And then it'll load what you've received, and it's kind of strange. Let's see. I don't necessarily see any DM unless you sent it earlier. Let's see. Or, it might be never mind, I see. Let's see. West Virginia, Mississippi to defy 3-year-old voter access EO from Biden. Oh, good. So states are beginning to reject Joe Biden's attempt to flip the election. That's good. I'll have to get into that on a separate video potentially tomorrow. I'll keep that open. Thank you very much for that. Dodger 12, try the FNFAL 308, the big boomstick. I do want to get something chambered in 308. BW, Dr. Turley says OJ was beginning of woke. I wish it would go to hell with him. No, he wasn't the beginning of woke. Wokeness, technically speaking, the roots of CRT and stuff begin in the 70s in academic circles. They're not even modern. Wasted Bonehead, chili without beans? Why, that's just meat sauce. Agreed. In fact, chili does not need beans at all and shouldn't have them if it's going on something else like hot dogs or whatever. But if it's standalone, if it's going to be its own thing, it needs beans in it. Black beans and kidney beans especially. Doc Holiday 59, imagine mean tweets equals Orange Hitler, but showers with Ashley are just fine. Yeah, the level of excuse making for Biden the pervert is pretty sheer at this point. Our final news story. Pacific Castaways help sign sparks U.S. rescue mission and an unexpected family reunion. A U.S. Navy and Coast Guard operation on Tuesday rescued 3 mariners stranded on a tiny Pacific Ocean islet for more than a week after the trio spelled help using palm fronds laid on a white sand beach. The mission also unexpectedly turned into a family reunion. The 3 men had been planning to fish the waters around the Picolot Atoll south of Micronesia on March 31st, when their 20-foot open skiff was caught by swells and its outbound motor was damaged, according to the U.S. Coast officials. They scrambled ashore on uninhabited Piccolo, but their radio ran out of battery power before they could call for help. Talk about a shit hits the fan situation. You're like, oh shit, we're going to die on a desert island, aren't we? And to find our sun-bleached skeletons 10 years later. The names of the stranded men have not yet been released by the Coast Guard, and CNN attempts to contact their relatives have not gotten replies. Yeah, I'd think they'd be a little bit busy, talking to their relatives to talk to the legacy media. Should get one of them on the show. That'd be funny. For a week, the men lived off coconut meat, but they did have fresh water from a small well on the island, which is sometimes visited by fishers in the region, the Coast Guard officials said. That's pretty cool. And if you look at a picture of this island, it is not particularly large. It looks like maybe it's a couple of acres wide at most. Hell, it might be smaller than the property at Chisana Drive. The search for the men began on April 6th when one of their relatives called rescue officials in the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam, saying they had not returned to Pulawat Atoll, an island more than 100 miles away where the three started their voyage on Easter Sunday. Happy Easter, dude. They should have had some hard-boiled eggs available. I was like, it's better than coconut meat. Although coconut meat is pretty good, say no. It is difficult to overstate just how remote Picolot is. The island is part of the Federated States of Micronesia, a Pacific nation between the Philippines and Hawaii that is made up of more than 600 islands scattered across about 2.5 million square kilometers of ocean. The Coast Guard said a U.S. Navy P-8A reconnaissance jet dispatched from Kadena Air Base on Okinawa, Japan, spotted the palm frond help sign on the beach on April 7th. They're probably at the time, they're like, this ain't going to work, dude. We're too far out there. I bet whoever dreamed up the idea is definitely bragging to the other two. Lieutenant Chelsea Garcia, the search and rescue mission coordinator on the day the trio was located, said the sign was crucial to finding them in a search area that covered more than 103,000 square miles. And the Navy dropped survival packs to them, and then a few days later, they managed to pick them up. So congrats to them. What a goddamn adventure you've got to tell to your relatives. Fancy Action Now, my gaming channel, Fancy Action Now. All right, well, then that's a shout out, I suppose. Yeah, so if you're ever on a desert island, if you do like pile up driftwood and make a little smoker, or if you use palm fronds on the beach, you may actually have a chance. I would be at that point, I'd be like, the chances of anyone flying directly above us are pretty remote since we're so far out there. But, just in the off chance, I guess they decided to give it a try and it worked. Always keep survival equipment, by the way. If you are ever going out at sea, it's probably a good idea to have a contingency just in case you do need to be on a desert island for at least a few weeks. Just saying. MRE coatings are waterproof, so, a storm comes and you find yourself adrift and then you're on a reef island like Amelia Earhart, you last a little bit longer. Probably a good idea to have a fresh supply of water available as well, or at least something to filter seawater. You can I've always thought, couldn't you use just the power of the sun to distill water anyway? You'd need a fairly elaborate system, but, you could make it foldable or something like that. It might break if you're in a storm, though, so I guess that wouldn't work too well. But if you had something like you could pump water through and remove at least most of the salt, it'd probably be better than nothing. We call coconut meat the flesh, but it's not good for biltong. Excellent for stervarkis, though. I'm probably mispronouncing that, Anton. But yeah, I'm gonna put ketchup on the biltong just to show off. Webster's Wares. Good morning, clankers from Endicott, Washington. Free shipping using code STICKS at www.websterswares.com/sticks-wares. Hoodies will be 2 weeks late. They were shipped to Endicott, New York instead of Washington. UPS sucks. Many such cases. Before I left, I had invested in getting a new phone, right? With a much, much better camera and audio quality. Because I figured for making videos and pics here, garden videos when I get back, etc. I wanted to upgrade. I figured it's finally time to do that. And I'm not really a phone person, but for just the video and picture quality and having like faster speeds and stuff, I figured because of the nature of my work, it's a good idea. It's supposed to come on the 6th via FedEx. Well, it was marked as delivered, but it never came. All the other stuff for the phone came, the protector and everything like that, but the phone itself never came. And I'm like, shit on a dick, dude. Andrew Von Halen. So you like the band Sabaton? Yes, absolutely. So yeah, hopefully, by the time I get back, hopefully it's been fixed and the phone is there. But for right now, I'm still using the primitive mode. Need to get a new Dutch phone as well. If you're going to split your time between two continents, you need to have access at all times. Both numbers on your accounts and everything else. It's a nice phone, too. It's like the top-end Samsung that you can get from the last generation of phones. I've seen the camera in action. It's, 1,000 times better than what I'm used to dealing with. In fact, I'm thinking about, could I mount this on my computer somehow and use that for the recording? Probably can. It would be better. Anyways, I think that I'm going to go offline because I do have to prep dinner. Again, I'm making my famous veggie Florentine soup, and it's so warm. I think I want to sit outside a little bit for a little while. That would be kind of nice. The Nerdwire, love the new local. Don't let the muggles get you down, Harry. You're a wizard, Harry. But yeah, I think I'm going to go offline. I will be live on Monday. Keep in mind, I do not go live on Saturday or Sunday. Those days, I'm going to be spending a lot of time with my daughter, mainly, more than anything else. And cooking. I need to make chili as well. I think that even Razorfist would eat my chili, beans or no beans. He wouldn't be able to say no when he fucking smelled that shit. He can claim that he wouldn't, but I doubt. Viking Woman 1988. Tune into Darkwave on Valley Free Radio Thursday nights from 9 to 11 p.m. 9/11, favorite time of day. WXOJ-LP 103.3 FM, Northampton, Massachusetts. Gothic rock band Then Comes Silence will be playing at the Stone Church in Vermont. Cool. Please send no more super chats, everyone. I have to go offline. Wasted Bonehead Sticks, I'm sad Sigil isn't here. He'd say something stupid, and I'd obliterate him with words. Yeah, I'm about to go and eat myself, because I'm fucking starving. I didn't have any breakfast today. Kind of, sort of, but it was one of those, I don't know what the fuck you'd call them. I'll have to show it off maybe on the next live stream. I'll grab one. I'm not sure how to describe this particular shake, vitamin drink. I'm not 100% sure, so I'll have to let you decide. That's about all. Peace out.